So before you even get that far, of course, you've got to do your research. Before you do your research, you've got to make sure it hasn't been done before. So before it hasn't been done before, you go and check in the library maybe, or you check online, do all sorts of different things, trying to see what has been published, and you spot the gaps. Because the gap analysis is the way you're trying to fill in the research. If there's research being done in various places, bits in between are the areas that are open for more research to be done. I prefer you not to use Google for this. Google's great for finding restaurants, but the important thing is to use something with a better search engine in there. So remember, if you find results in Google, or other similar sort of search engines that are free like this, someone paid to have that result in the first page, second page. And that's all sponsored information, so not the best way to look for information. So you go to somewhere like, if you have to, Google Scholar or Web of Science or Scopus, PubMed, other similar things which use Boolean search logic to go and find interesting information. You're looking to see what's been published, reading it through, and then also you see in their conclusion often they'll suggest extra experiments. And you can see if they've been done or not. That gives you an idea for what really is out there as a possibility for you to research. And normally in a lab you'll have, or department, you'll have several people all doing their own different research, perhaps with a head of lab or a professor or whatever. And what's happening is that one person's the main person in that project, and they're helping with that someone else who's the main person, and that's where various papers are coming from. So you're a co-author in some papers, and you're an author in another paper. But between you, you're a team, and you're going to research these various things. So this happens to be a screenshot. You can't read it now. You'll see it better when you get the slides later. What's been cited and from where? That's just an idea. It's useful to know who's done what. So you can no, this happens to be Scopus, but you can sort by citations. See the citation classics on the top. You can filter by reviews. You can filter by country, you can filter by people, all sorts of different things. The idea being your keywords, you can find out how the field's growing or shrinking or whatever. A lot of information you can find out which helps you. You can do a country filter and everything else. If you find someone who's very interesting in your field, you can also follow them. Follow them, not like electronic stalking. You can follow them whereby you say to, say, Scopus, whenever that person publishes, please send me an alert. So that's a way to follow someone who happens to be very strong in your field, or you want to see what they're publishing. Or it could be the people who are active in your field and they're in effect potential collaborators or potential competitors. So it's nice to know what they've published and when. Because once you've done the research once, seeing who's out there, set up your alerts, then you keep being told about these things, which is great. It saves you keep looking, because what you don't want to do is do your research and start doing your research here in your lab bench or whatever, head down, not looking up, not seeing what's out there. Because what's out there are other people publishing other things which are useful to your research work, so you can actually add that information in as a citation. And also, they may publish exactly what you're working on before you get a chance to publish. Oops, shucks. You see what they've published and see how you can change, add, amend your research to extract a paper from that. You can't publish what you were going to do because someone else has just done that. That's the reality of publishing. It's like a sort of a strategic information gathering. I've got the word checklist in red here because later on you'll all get, apart from the PDF of these slides, you'll also get a PDF of a checklist, gives you an idea of how to set up your research projects and publish your papers and so on. So the idea being you're just going to become better at using the tools, the search tools, to find information online. It's practice. Just like no one really taught you how to do certain things until suddenly you had to know, like riding a bicycle. Once you know it, you know it. Using a centrifuge. The same thing with searching for something in PubMed. Once you've done that searching with mesh terms, you've got that skill set forever, basically. So then you're thinking, okay, you're doing your research, you and your colleagues, and you're saying, okay, well, is it new? Is it interesting? If not, why are you doing it? Is it a hot topic? Are there people publishing it? Have you noticed other journals with lots of articles like this? Are there lots of downloads? If you go to a conference, there are lots of people on that topic in the room, more than was expected, so the room's over full. Have you given solutions, a new method or something? Do you think you and your colleagues have done enough experiments? Or do you think you might need to do one more? You always do the perfect set of experiments. That might take years. Have you got time for that? Have you got enough information to make a strong, clear story? That's the question. If the answer is yes, great. If the answer is not yet, do a bit more. One more experiment or some other discussion or whatever. That's the important thing. So that's always useful to have. There's very few papers are written by one person, normally written by groups of people. And so with the group of you, work out exactly these various points. Are you ready to publish? Okay. Does that mean you start to write the paper? No. That's too easy. You've got to decide. Is it going to be a short paper or is it going to be a long paper? A short paper, perhaps you haven't got much information. Perhaps it's a case report or something. Or perhaps it's so amazing you want to get it out there quickly to establish intellectual property rights on your particular article, that content. Or it could be a full article, which is fine. What's a full article? It depends on your field. Some fields, a full article is 8, 10 pages, some it's 20 or 30 pages. You could also, of course, do a review paper where you're collecting together a bunch of information from other articles, and then what you're doing is you're then synthesizing in some layout, and you actually do a constructive evaluation of that content as a review. Also, you've got new sorts of research elements, like a micro-article or just a short method update or something, or data in brief or other similar things. So there's all sorts of different options available to you. Sometimes you might do a full article and then later on you've still got some more extra data, not enough for full article, so you do a short article afterwards. And you always cite your first article in your introduction. So it's extra information based on your earlier work. Or if you've done that short article, later on you do a full article, but you cite your first paper. Because you must always cite your previous work, or else it looks like you're trying to get more articles out of one bit of data.